Yeah, give them the address so they can actually test it. Yeah, give them the address. Ask the people on Instagram and Periscope to get on their computer, cell phone. But I'm doing it now, so you can hear me. Twitch.tv/bandfamous. Please help us test, and please go to it anyways. Twitch.tv/bandfamous.
We're good. I can see the.
We're not good because I want to make an announcement. Please go to twitch.tv/bandfamous and subscribe, follow, and bookmark, and also test that. And thank you.
Okay, let me turn it down. Let me turn it back down. How about now? Is that better? Do the music? Maybe the music's a bit loud. Turn the music down just a little bit. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. I am gonna go through my intro again because I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So is that better? Can you guys hear me now? Thank you so much,
Twitch,
Kelly.
Can you hear on Twitch?
Can you hear us on Twitch?
You did test it. You did test it.
It looks like. I mean, I don't think it was working before. I think we're good now.
I think you should test it. I think you should
Good old
double
Mercury
check.
retrograde. I think we're out of it.
I think you should check rather than test it.
Let me double check. It's good now? Okay, Kelly says it's good. At least on Instagram, it's good now.
Okay, let's
Awesome.
make sure
Thank you
it's
so
good.
much. Bear with me. I'm just going to check something right here, and then we'll get into the episode. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. How do I sound? How is the music? Everything all right so far? I've got a few people tuning in, so I'm just typing in the chat box on Twitch to see.
The audio, can you please test it on your computer?
Okay.
Please, I'm asking you, please, because I'm doing other things in pertaining to the production. So please help me out, 100%, please. Please test the audio yourself. Please test the audio. Talk.
Hello?
Test, talk, chat. It's your mic. You're the star. Check.
Yeah.
Is it my mic or is it your
Hello?
mic though?
Can you stop talking for a moment? Check. Check. You're talking a lot, so I can't hear it.
It's using the wrong
Okay.
microphone.
No, I can hear it now.
No,
Let me
it's
double
using
check
this
though.
one.
Let me double check
It's
that.
using this microphone.
Is it really?
Yep.
Let me double check here. Do that, and then let's see, properties. Oh, fuck, you're right. Okay, there we go. All right. Yep. All right. Xander was right. Attention, the Leo was right. I'm gonna announce that. Mr. Bossy Pants over there. I know, right? Yeah, just a wee bit. Yeah. Kelly, that's funny. She called you Mr. Bossy Pants. I concur. He is Mr. Bossy Pants. Thank you. That's hilarious. Thank you so much, so much for helping us with the audio. I was tweaking some things on my computer, so evidently everything got twacked. I had to start completely over. So here we are. Welcome to Queer Talk with Norell and the band Famous. I'm Norell. Xander's to my side here. This is episode 1, and I wanted to take a quick moment to give a plug to our sponsors and our fans. Want to say thank you for buying our coffee. We have the band Famous and the Awakening coffee. Thank you for buying our music, and we have, of course, the VIP prices available at bandfamous.bandcamp.com, so you can always check it out there. Actually, that's where we were discovered and played on the radio in the United Kingdom from Bandcamp, so shout out to Simon Edwards and Six Towns Radio. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Cheers. And speaking of coffee, right? And then thank you for supporting our physical shop in Los Angeles. So we're actually supporting, I'm going to drink, whoa, it's very, very full. I just got a very, very full water, you guys. Hang on. You guys and gals and everyone on the spectrum tuning in. Cheers. Very important to stay hydrated. My chair did get a little hydrated, but
So did you.
yep, so did I. It's all right.
Your chair in water. Feels so good.
If you eat, true. What up, Sir Maximus? What up? Yeah, did you know if you douse your chair in water, it helps you absorb more water yourself through your your skin. It like evaporates into your skin from your chair. Yeah, true story. What is up? Okay, someone tried posting a link and it wasn't sharing. Sorry, I have some stuff I'll have to tweak with the. Sometimes my little bots get out of control. Speaking of bossy pants, they can get a little crazy. But anyways, back to Queer Talk episode 1. Firstly, giving some shout outs. Thank you for those supporting the Band Famous shop. We do have merchandise for sale every Saturday, and store hours expanding soon. Thank you for subscribing to us on YouTube. We're the Band Famous TM, and thank you for subscribing on Twitch, where we're broadcasting, as well as Periscope and Instagram right now. We're twitch.tv/bandfamous. And thank you for everyone for our Patreons. Thank you to our sponsors, 805 Buddha Bliss, Malibu Strings, TLK Knitting, Kama Sutra Candy, and actually more to be announced soon. So we're working on our next newsletter. If you want to know who's going to be sponsoring the Band Famous and who the Band Famous is sponsoring, hint, the Sir Maximus and Anadactyl are a couple of them, but there's going to be more announcements coming soon. Special thanks and shout out to all the musicians in the Hall of Fame for supporting the movement and their that we feature. And yeah, so today, you know, it's Tuesday. I'm not wearing makeup. This isn't scripted, but I do have some notes. But it's very casual. I just wanted to start this and this platform, this space. And essentially, you can ask me questions whenever you want, and I'll try to cover them at some point. We will be having guests in the future as well. But I wanted to briefly go over some of the things I'll be discussing here. And this is an open platform, a safe space for all. So I want that to be clear. No matter where you fall on the spectrum, no matter how you identify, whether you're straight, LGBTQAI+, you know, pansexual, whatever you are, you're welcome here. Your voice matters. So I myself wanted to talk about my experience being queer. I'm bisexual. Oh, what's up, the Sir Maximus? I hope you're having a good day at work. So I myself identify as bisexual, and I did grow up in a smaller town in Ashland, Wisconsin with my grandfather. It's a very small town, and it was very interesting there. And I also noticed, I'll go more on that later. I'll elaborate further. But I also noticed when I transferred schools from a college in northern Wisconsin to a more liberal school, we'll say, even the other ones, even though the college in Wisconsin, you know, is a liberal school as well. But I transferred to the University of Minnesota, and I also noticed a thing that I will call my microphone, just a little bit. Okay, that better? Okay, so yeah, live. Oh, you live in Minneapolis? Right on, Kelly. Yeah, actually, our band formed in Minneapolis. We have a lot of love for Minneapolis. Love for Minnesota. Love right back to Minnesota. Always got love. Always got love. But we did notice that I guess we've coined it the term, I'll say costumed queers in Minnesota. So one example by what I mean by that is girls kissing girls for attention. And I'm sure this happens everywhere, not just in Minnesota, not not to like throw them under the bus, but just like, think of an example, like you're at a party in college or something, or you're at a frat house or whatever, and it's like, just there are the girls who say they're bisexual and want to like kiss girls in front of people for attention. You feel me? But they're not like really, you feel me? So that's one example. But then there's girls who will like do it like behind the scenes and like, but they're actually genuinely bisexual and they're not doing it just for attention. So there is like there is a spectrum of like of bisexuality with that. But bisexual, I wanted to say, what up? Yeah, the music industry. Yeah, Nerdy's dope. We're actually selling his t-shirts, and 85% of proceeds go to Nerdy to support him and everything he's doing, including with the Justice Frontline Aid in Minnesota. And yeah, we send all our love and we support everyone that's standing up for what is right. And it's crazy that we're still having this fight. But I am talking about it. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, basically, my experience being queer is I've lived in different states. So, I lived in Wisconsin, I lived in Minnesota, I lived in NYC, I live in Los Angeles now. So, I've experienced queer culture in different regions of the country, in like different regions of the country. Okay, so the Midwest, where you have like northern Wisconsin's pretty much the middle of nowhere to a degree, and then you have like a bigger city, Minneapolis, St. Paul, right, the Twin Cities. Minnesota. It's a lot bigger compared to like, a small city in the Midwest. Very, very different, right? And then yeah, nerdy's dope. That's awesome. So yeah, Kelly said she's been following him and supporting him for over a year. That's awesome. Shout out to Kelly Von Bank. Much love to you and to Nerdy, and just thank you so much for supporting each other. It's so important. And but yeah, I just wanted to talk about a little bit of my experience, since not everybody has experienced queer culture. Not everybody has experienced, the East Coast, the West Coast, New York, and Los Angeles, as well as having that experience in like bumfuck middle of nowhere, in the Midwest, and then, more like Minneapolis. They call Minneapolis the Minneapolis, actually, right? NYC, so is called, the Big Apple, right? The Big Apple. So Minneapolis is nicknamed. Thank you for the hearts. I see the love. I feel it. I'm feeling the love and sending love straight back. Feel that love, and hearts. So, but yeah, so Minneapolis was nicknamed the Minneapolis. So it was a big city compared to the Midwest, where, I was kind of more of a closeted queer at the time in the Midwest, and I kind of more, I more openly came out after I got away from a lot of the toxicity. There's still like a lot of like homophobia and stuff that I experienced, even with like some family, and just some weird stuff. People would treat you a certain way if you said you identified a certain way. So when I went to college in the Midwest, I went to school at Northland College for a couple of years, and I participated in the LGBT club. And so I did like a drag show, for example, where I was like singing on stage, and I was like cross-dressed as a guy, and I did like a Blink 182 duet with another friend of mine who was a lesbian and cross-dressed as a guy. And I remember I got a lot of flack from family, even, for just participating and being a member of the Northland College drama. No, it wasn't the drama club. It was the Northland College LGBT club or something. It was like the Alliance. I can't even quite remember the exact name of it, but I did a couple of these drag shows, and I was a member, and I was like openly bisexual at the time. And then I kind of closeted myself again because I received kind of a lot of just bullshit, and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna kind of put the shell back up around me for a little bit, right? That's kind of how it felt. I was like kind of coming out, and then I went back in, and then I came out again later, and which I found a lot easier in New York City and in Los Angeles. I will say that the East Coast and the West Coast were, oh, that's awesome. You have 2 children and many friends who identify LGBTQ. That's awesome. And it is, and I do believe we are a spectrum, like we all fall somewhere on the spectrum. Like it's not just a black and white thing of like, it's just not that simple. Like we're more complex beings than that. You can't just like fit us in, 1 or 2 boxes of like, oh, you're straight or you're gay. And like we've even received like, in the Midwest, like there were gay men who told Xander that he was confused because we would be body painting at like the Gay 90s for Twin Cities Pride Festival, for example. Hello to everybody stopping by. We're talking about queer culture in different regions. Yeah, there's a lot of gray on the spectrum, and like we don't like that it's not like more inclusive for everybody on the spectrum. It's like people are too divisive generally by like labels and wanting to like separate and label everybody, and like really it is a spectrum. So yeah, we just want to highlight that. Hello, what up? So yeah, we're broadcasting on Instagram, on Periscope, and on Twitch.tv, and we will have this available on our YouTube as well. And we thank you for everyone who's tuning into the live stream. So this is episode 1 of Queer Talk, and we're going to be having more episodes. We're going to be having. I can move that really quick. I might have to just move the box over.
Sorry, I'm giving feedback to Norell on the
Yeah, I'm making a couple
on the
adjustments real quick.
chat on twitch.tv, so you can't see it. But if you're on Twitch, you can see it.
Where do I put it?
It's a little distracting. Just
There
off
it
to the
is.
side. That's fine. That's fine. Off to the side. Just not covering
Like
your
right
face,
there?
please. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Off the border with the monsters running. Yeah. It's a little easier to
You're
read the
not gonna be
font.
able to read who's saying it though. That's the bummer. Maybe.
Maybe shrink the font. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
put it in the bottom left corner. Can we just try it? Can we try it?
Try that.
I don't know. Maybe some people on Instagram and Periscope can give us some feedback. If you guys have computers, you can look at it on your phone
yeah,
too.
I can always.
The Twitch is a little bit easier to customize when you broadcast.
Let's see.
Yeah. Swing. Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Yeah, let's try that. That might be good. That might be good. Let's try that. Done. And then hopefully, okay, sorry about that, you guys and gals and everyone. I think that should be a little better. So I just tweaked the layout on our Twitch. About the societal needs to label people. Yeah, I think part of that comes down to control for some people. Like, they want to, first of all, it's wanting to be right, I think, and it's also, it could be, it's, okay. So one of the first questions asked on Queer Talk by Kelly Von Bank in Minneapolis is the societal needs to label people. Like why do people feel in society? Why do they feel the need to label people? That's a big question, and you know where that. Okay. Yeah, that is a very big question. Okay, so we're gonna go into that. So okay, the first question that we'll go into why people feel the need in society to label people. I think personally, okay, for me visually, because I'm a visual person too. Okay, everybody's pretty much been to high school, right? I immediately think of like the cafeteria setting when like everybody's like going to lunch and like you have everyone like sitting at the different tables and like most people will sit at the same tables, right? They like kind of like click up, right? It's like a clicky thing. So like clickiness is like is something that comes to mind for like why people label. It's like I think acceptance is a big part of it. So it's like if people say I identify as this, then other people who identify as a certain label can be like, oh, what we have in common. Like they say, if you have, you're going to have better chemistry if you share similar interests, if you have things in common. So if you're finding out that you share these things in common, you're going to feel more accepted, you're going to feel more comfortable, you're not going to feel alone, because I think many of us do feel alone sometimes.
I think she brings it. That's a big challenge
It
for
is a big
teens.
challenge for
So
teens.
I think one of the biggest things that come to me when someone wants to label is first of all, I think of labels in general. What are labels used for? Like at grocery stores, right? What else? I don't know. Video games. You put labels on stuff. Stuff you want to buy. Well, stuff. Can I? Let me break it down. And we label things that we want to buy and sell.
Right.
Right. So I don't want to be on a label, and I don't want to be a part of a label, and I don't like labeling because I think every person is so individually unique, and each person walking around, even random people, masterpieces of their own self, sometimes undiscovered, but that's a whole other conversation. So I think when you start to label things, you start to dismiss how amazing everything is. You're grouping people based on one thing.
Yeah.
So if you say,
if I can interject, I feel that it gets confused with character, and really it's about character. And it, like everybody has characteristics. Like I'm going to expand on what Xander said about everybody being unique, right? Everyone is unique. So you can't fit people into little boxes. Like there might be like similarities that we have in common. There might be things that we identify with. Exactly. Kelly brought up identification. Yeah, there are things that we feel relatable to, like just like music. Certain music will be soothing for some of us, and certain music You know, for some, when people want to relax, they'll put on like jazz or they'll put on classical music. For others, that might be like death metal, like Slayer or Pantera, and that's relaxing to them. And that's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a spectrum. That's like how they unwind. They might have like their own pent up energy, and they're not like, maybe they weren't able to get to the gym because we're in quarantine and they don't have a punching bag, and they're just like, I'm just going to listen to some Rage Against the Machine or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, um, so that's kind of what I think of is, you know, we kind of identify that because you're.
I was going to say there's a lot of other things that are we can't mention in such a short time. So I think the idea for as band famous is we want to be a band and organization and business that create a discussion or create a platform for discussions, but obviously with decency and human backbone. We have to have
Right.
accountability for people that are bullying trans people, or if someone's coming as trans in a smaller town and they're getting beat up, there has to be accountability for the crime, and then there has to be accountability for our
Yeah.
society
No
for making
matter.
them feel
Yeah.
not accepted and having people get to that point.
No matter how someone identifies, they need to be treated kindly. They need to be treated humanely. We all deserve to be treated with decency. And Kelly brings up, she says, I'm discovering that one of my kids wanting to fit into a specific box, but is frustrated by not finding others in her box, and she's alone. I don't know how to help her. Yeah, and see,
And
that, yeah.
that's something. Can I add? I mean, I guess to answer that from from a musician, from what we're doing, is we're all in this together,
Hmm.
and
Hi, Carlos.
it is a really isolating feeling to start to discover who you are and then realize other people don't accept me, but I accept. That's a whole other feeling of
Yeah,
isolation because some people are on the journey of self discovery. They're like, who am I? Some
yeah.
people go, I know that I'm a freak, or I know that I'm whatever it is. And then it's like they accept themselves, but then other people don't accept them. And I think that's kind of where we're at with society is
But I will say that in high school we're so young then and life seems so hard, and it is really hard. High school is really hard. It was some of the hardest years of my life, no doubt. And I know I can speak for many in saying that. But life does go on when we get through high school, and like even if we don't feel like we fit in with any particular label, or even if we feel we fit a certain label but other people don't even understand that label, so they can't relate, you will find people who will accept you and who will relate to you in some way. Like you'll find, like you may feel alone for a while. It might take a couple of years, but you'll find someone who will be like, "Oh, I feel like I kind of am like this way." And they are like, "Oh, wow, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like that's exactly how I feel." Yeah. It's challenging enough to be a teen and learn about yourself. Exactly. It's so hard. And especially if you do feel like you're going to receive flack, or you're going to have backlash, or you're going to not be accepted. And you will have backlash. I'm sorry to say, I personally had backlash from my own family, and I know like both of us have, we experience backlash, we experience toxicity, abuse, and just horrible treatment for just trying to be who we authentically are, and we're not ashamed of who we are. And but I do want to say, going on again, for myself with identifying, if even though it's not like it's not what makes us human at the end of the day. Like our sexuality is not what end all, the be all end all. It's not like, oh, some girls are only about, right? It's not all about that thing. But on the topic of that, because it is so much around the orientation, is for me, bisexual. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you. As you said, I'm sorry. I appreciate it. I am who I am because of everything I've been through, so I'm grateful for everything, and I've learned a lot, and I'm truly grateful for everything. So, but thank you. But yeah, for me, bisexuality, like being bisexual does not always equal slutty. And I will say, even a friend of mine shared a meme recently, and it kind of was like, it kind of made me chuckle because it was like it kind of went, it was kind of to do with this, and I'm not going to necessarily go any further because I don't know how much they want to be on this topic right now. But I'm happy to talk to her if she wants to discuss on a future episode with Queer Talk, as she also identifies as bisexual. But so bisexual does not always equal slutty, okay? But sometimes it does, all right? And that's okay. It's okay, you know. And I will say, even for like men in society, you know, there's been this thing where it's like, you know, men can like be a player, and it's like they kind of get props for like the more girls, the more bitches and hoes they're with, right? But then there's like the dichotomy, or what's the double standard basically with women, where it's like, oh, we're sluts and we're hoes if we're, you know, having a couple guys that are friends with benefits or like whatever, you know, a couple one night stands that men and women are, you know, susceptible to doing on occasion, whatever. No judgment here. I'm just saying it happens in human nature on both sides. Like, but okay, bisexual does not mean that, you know, for me, I'm bisexual. That doesn't mean that I'm going to sleep with anyone, because that's definitely not. Like, that's a common misconception and stigma with bisexuality. Yeah, it is unfair that the slutty label follows that. It is really unfair. And even like, I had another friend. I spoke about Xander doing body painting during the Twin Cities Pride Festival in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis, at Gay 90s, and there were some gay men there who were not only telling Xander that he was confused and that he was actually gay. They were trying to tell him that he was gay, right? Because just because he's queer, he's comfortable around naked men, and he's painted naked men and their penis, even when the men have gotten slightly aroused in the process, and he's been fine, and like, you know, he's able to handle himself and remain professional. In the same sense, when women have gotten wet, and it's happened when he's body painted women, and some of them have done ecstasy or whatever, and you know, things happen, and he remained professional. He was professional even when he body painted me when we met for the first time. It just so happened that we had a lot in common and a lot that we identified with, and we're both queer. And, you know, we ended up making a band in Minnesota and moving to NYC and experiencing queer culture there, and then after experiencing the queer culture in Minnesota. And we've experienced queer culture in Los Angeles. And it's also a mental and emotional connection as well. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I like to say is like, with bisexuality for me, and I'm sure even a lot of pansexuals would relate, because I feel like pansexual and bisexual are kind of similar in the degree. But it's not about parts, but it's about hearts. It's literally about hearts. It's like, it doesn't really matter what they're packing, if it's, female or male or whatever. It's really about what's on the inside, right? Hey, hey, Xander teases me that I'm more of a lesbian, and it's kind of true. Hey, no, I'm just kidding. There's nothing wrong with that, though. There's nothing wrong with having, no. I love big penis, but I love women too. I'm like, hey, real talk. Whoa, not safe for work. Whatever. It's queer talk. This is anything goes. This is queer talk. But yeah, you're muted. Are you trying to say something? Oh, okay. What are you saying? Because you want me to say what you're saying? Okay, that's all you said. Okay. So I will say, in our experience, oh wait, your daughter has a shirt that says that. Oh, that it's not about parts, it's about hearts. That's dope. I would rock a shirt. That's nice. I didn't know there was a shirt that says that. I'm going to take a drink of coffee to that. I love that. Mm. Aw, you and your daughter sound amazing. That's awesome. Um, that really makes me happy. That makes my day. Tell your daughter that I said she rocks. And all right. So, but yeah. So that is a common misconception. But one thing I noticed though when we were living in NYC is it was more accepting. For I will say we did have a girlfriend when we lived in Minnesota. She dated, but one thing is, and this is what I mean, where it was kind of like still not quite right, is she didn't want to see us as like a couple together, even though we were married. Xander and I, we were married. She wanted to date us separately, like as separate people. So it was like, it took a while before she was comfortable to even sit down, like all of us all together and like go out to the movies or something, like, and it was like, we invited her to one of our concerts at the Gay 90s, and she didn't go because she didn't have anybody to bring with her. And I was like, we were just like, what? Like, you're dating both of us. Like, we both would have been there. We would have been hanging out. Like, it didn't really make any sense to me. So that was kind of a weird thing. But NYC definitely was more accepting. But I will say that it was still closeted. And what I mean by that is there were people wanting to fuck behind other people's backs. Like, we got approached so many times. Do I know Joe Scarpolino? I'm not sure. Xander, does that name ring a bell to you? I'm not sure. Feel free to message me more about that as well, and especially, or email info@bandfamous.com. Um, yeah, and we'll look into it and we can talk more about it and answer questions about it and things like that. Is there is there something you want to share about that, Kelly, with Joe Scarpolino? Because I will say that there were a lot of people in NYC that approached us that um, were wanting to like have a threesome with us or do something with us, but they were like married and they were doing it behind their partner's back. There were models, there were photographers, there were many professionals of all professions, and we said no to all of them. We're like, we're sorry, but we're ethical sluts. Um, oh, he's just a okay. No, he's a common artist in the area, Joe Scarpolino. Oh, in Minnesota. We'll have to check him out. That's awesome. But yeah, so I mean, we were just like quick to put up walls for those kind of people. I'm not trying to like judge or shame anybody. I know it's their choice to live their life how they're gonna live it at the end of the day. But I will say that Xander and I were like, sorry, not so fast. We're ethical sluts, meaning that we're not into breaking up happy homes and marriages. We're polyamorous and we practice ethical non-monogamy. And so some people, and I'm seriously gonna have to make a meme about this, I swear, because it's like one of those like what people think, what my parents think, whatever think, like what really happens, right? Like I swear we're gonna have to make one because like some people think like when we say we're polyamorous and we practice ethical non-monogamy, they think we're like going to sex parties all the time. They think we're like because and I'll go more into this later, but because we recently started doing like indie porn, right? They think we're doing it all the time, and it's like a back burner project really, because like music and art and everything else is like our main, like we're doing a music video, we're making CBD products with our one of our sponsors, 8 to 5 Buddha Bliss. Like we have so many things going on. It's not, it's not all sex, you guys. It's not like when I say I'm bisexual, it doesn't mean that I'm fucking dudes and ladies and gents left and right, okay? It just means that I like hearts more than parts, okay? That's a common misconception. So, and also, when you say you're a polyamorous couple, or if you say you're a swinger or whatever, that's probably another common misconception, I would say, is they think you're just like wife swapping and husband swapping and like fucking people left and right. And it's like, or, and some people, even, I will say, even when I was in high school and I was hardly even sexual, like hardly. Hardly. I was slut shamed when I was a virgin by my own mother, and there was someone that I dated that I kissed, and we went to a party, and another friend of mine was there, and she made out with someone at that party, and my boyfriend at the time got so drunk that he believed that it was me, even though I was with him the whole night. So he wrote in my yearbook in high school, 1 in 4 people in life gets herpes, have a nice life, or something like that. And I was like, whoa, right? This is small town drama when I was, whatever. But like, it was just like interesting because then like later in life, he was like, wow, like that was really immature of me and I'm sorry. So it's like people do grow and like people make mistakes and they have misconceptions. So hopefully with Queer Talk, we can help bring some light to some of those things. And, oh, are you fixing that for me? Sanders fixing my camera. It's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah. What up? Hey. So yeah. But yeah, we're not into breaking up happy homes or marriages. We're definitely very ethical, and it's not even that often when we are having a freaky threesome or something with a girl or a guy or whatever. But another thing that comes up with being a queer and polyamorous is jealousy. And many people cannot handle, the simple fact is, many people cannot handle sharing their lover. And this includes even in a threesome experience. Like I'm not even talking about like, like Xander goes on dates sometimes with girls and I stay here and like work on music or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like some people are like my man unless I'm watching kind of thing, right? Like they're so it's like it's all a matter of like preference when people are queer, polyamorous, like not everyone practices it the same way. Number 1. Everybody has their boundaries, everybody has their rules. It's very important to honor and respect those rules if you are in that kind of situation or exploring, trying something like that. But I will say, even in a threesome experience, not everybody is like emotionally capable of handling that where they get jealous. And I will say even so a high school friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine in high school. Later, when we were in college, she wanted to have a threesome with me and her then boyfriend. And I was like kind of considering it at the time, admittedly. The email address, Kelly, is info@bandfamous.com. Here, I'll type it out and then I'll put the camera back down real quick. One sec. Info. I will. I will. Yeah, let me put it out everywhere. Info@bandfamous.com. And a heart. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm just going to put this back down. All right. So, yeah, a lot. So basically, so my friend from high school, right, was dating this another friend of mine from high school, actually, a guy and a girl, and she wanted to see if I would have a threesome with her and her boyfriend, right? And I was like, oh, I might be open to that. And like, she like kissed me or whatever. And she tried to do it in front of her boyfriend, right? And he got like weird about it. So that was awkward. So basically, I was friends with both of them, but in this case, and this might be a rarity, but it does happen sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm obviously not throwing any names out to like, okay, awesome, I'll definitely check out the email. Thank you, Kelly. Shout out to Kelly Von Bank. But yeah, in this case, this guy was too insecure that he actually felt threatened by me. Like another woman was a threat to his relationship, like a lot of guys that he'd probably be like, he's crazy, he didn't like jump to have a threesome with like two girls. Like, I'm telling you, it happens and there's nothing wrong with it. And in the same case, like, I had another friend when I was younger that I was really good friends with, and his girlfriend told I was hanging out with both of them one night, and we were having like Captain and Coke. I think I was a senior in high school, maybe I was a freshman in college. And no, I was definitely a freshman in college because I wasn't in a relationship at the time, because I remember I broke up, or we broke up. But anyway, I remember we were hanging out and my friend's girlfriend goes, "Oh, you can fuck my boyfriend right now. Like, yeah, you can just go upstairs and fuck him." And I was like way too shy, and like I just like my mind was like I couldn't process that. I wasn't emotionally capable, okay, at the time of processing a proposition like that. Even if I did admittedly had a kind of have a crush on said friend of mine that I never bring this down. Okay. Better? Okay, thank you, Xander. So yeah, even though like I kind of had a crush on this guy, and his girlfriend was bisexual, even when I was a closeted bisexual at the time, right? And she was cute, and like I had opportunities, but I wasn't ready at the time. I was kind of closeted myself, So I was like, oh, like thanks, but no thanks, kind of thing. And that wasn't the first time. There was another friend, it was right after I got out of this 3-year relationship too, and I was in college, and another girlfriend of mine was like, this is like, geez, 3 different threesomes I could have had if everybody was emotionally ready at the time, but nobody was ready, and myself included. But yeah, it was like another girlfriend was like, that I had a crush on. Okay, I had a crush on this girl, and she invited me to have a threesome with her and her boyfriend, who was not an unattractive guy by any means. He was a good-looking guy, but I just wasn't. I think I was too fresh, like fresh out of that relationship, you know what I mean? So I wasn't like emotionally ready. Like I was like it would have definitely been like a rebound thing for sure, and like many people probably would have done it because they were hot, trust me, they were good people, but I just wasn't ready emotionally. And but that's like jealousy is a part of it as well, like I said. There's been cases where I've known men who've gotten insecure that their girlfriend likes women, and I know people to this day that can't handle it, where they're like, oh, my girl likes women, but I'm not going to let her date women because that would be weird, and like I'd feel threatened, or I wouldn't feel like a man or something. You know what I mean? Like, and vice versa, you know, like there's probably some relationships where the guy is bisexual. Actually, I know for a fact that there's many men in marriages that are openly like straight, right? They at least pose as heterosexual males, and their wife has no idea that they're actually like getting their dick sucked by one of their best friends who's a guy or something. You know what I mean? Or like one of their gym buddies, or they're getting it in the sauna, or like, you know, whatever, you know, like I'm just saying, like there's definitely a curtain of transparency that is definitely a matter of personal preference, and you know, according to that person's moral, you know, ethics or whatever. Like I said, I'm not here to judge, but like Xander and I are definitely ethical sluts. Like we're not interested in uh what's the word? Just if you think of it like watering a garden, we're not going to water any gardens that are going to be harmful, you know. So if it's like someone, no matter how it, like there's been women that have come after Xander that like want to date him, right? And they know that he's polyamorous, and they're like, "Oh, I'm married." But then Xander asks like, "Oh, is your husband okay with it?" Or like, "He's cool with you talking to me?" And then the girl will ghost him or like fall silent. Like she'll flirt and like be totally all about him, and like get like sext him even, and like, you know what I mean. And then it's like the moment of accountability comes where it's like, oh, is your partner okay with this? And it's like either they just ghost him or they're not, you know what I mean, and they lie about it. Like there's definitely been, like there was a girl in the past who was like massaging him one day and said she was single, and then her boyfriend walked in and like got mad, and luckily it was like a friend of Xander's, so he like didn't, and he was like, "You're lucky that, you know, I think you're cool, or I'd kick your ass," you know. And it was like this awkward thing, but it was like, you know, I mean, it's not like Xander was getting his dick sucked when she walked in, but you know what I mean. You're like, "Thanks for the permission, but that's not how I work." Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you have my permission to fuck my boyfriend, or you have my permission." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, it's a nice gesture, I guess, on in a way, but yeah, I just wasn't ready. You know what I mean? Like, even if I did, even there was like sexual tension even between probably everyone involved, and that's probably why they were like, you know, if you're into it, I'm into it, kind of thing. You know, like they were reading the energy. Like I definitely had a strong sexual energy for most of my life, but that doesn't mean that I was always, you know, expressing it or acting on it, or like just because, you know, I'm bisexual, I'm 31. I've only been with a handful of women though, you know what I mean? Like, and I haven't been with that many guys either. So it's like even in making, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, jealousy is something that is definitely a part of it. But yeah, with Xander and I, we're not trying to hide who we are. And I have just a couple more things I want to say. And what up, Rudy? Yeah. What up? We're broadcasting live on twitch.tv. Turn that down just a little bit. Twitch.tv/BamFamous. Also, yeah, strong sexual energy. Ditto. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a powerful thing. You got to hone that energy. But yeah, we're broadcasting on Instagram, on Periscope, on Twitch. We're going to be uploading this episode as well on our YouTube. So thank you to everyone who subscribes and follows on. Kelly Xander, turn down your music. Yeah, no, he did. You're fine. That's a good level. You're good. She was just echoing me, I think. You can turn it back up a little.
Yeah, I turned it loud to get her to hype something up for a second. So yeah, we are gonna try to continue the
I have a,
multiple live streams every time, and as she mentioned, at the end of the broadcast, we will have the episode uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you missed it, or you caught part of it, or you're coming into it and you missed a question, you know, you gotta get in that on the YouTube. And then if you do have a question for Norell or anyone at the band Famous, other members at the band Famous, aka myself and Norell,
yes.
Norell and I. But if you have questions, it's going to be info@bandfamous.com for those questions, and we'll answer them now. We'll answer them later, and some of them might be big questions. We might touch on them again later. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. So stay tuned, and we will continue queer talk with you guys very soon. And wish you all a wonderful day or night, wherever you're tuning in.